There you go, people. That was the Grace of the Dragonfly. Funny enough, from the album called Grace of the Dragonfly by a band. Well, in fact, my special guest is in that band today. Lionheart. Okay, who they've got Dennis Stratton on guitar. Does it get any better than that? Probably not really. That was great. I loved it. And I'll tell you what was strange about that is it comes in with the keyboards at the start, and I thought, oh, we're going to have a little ballad here. And then it kicks off with the twin guitars and some great melodies in there, the singing and the background vocals are all fantastic. And obviously a sublime solo. Is it you playing the solo on that?
Grace of the Dragonfly. I can't remember. There's lots
It's
of
got a key change in it, sort of.
Yeah, there's a lot of harmony guitars, and
yeah.
To be honest, it's been such a manic time lately with the album coming out. I've lost track of what I did. I know the harmonies all sound great, but I'm not sure. Can't remember what solos I did and what songs at the moment.
Oh, man,
there's so many things on your mind.
There was some great twin guitar stuff in there. I just absolutely. Where did you record the album?
We did all our parts at home, and then we send them to Steve, who's in the studio in Hanover. He's got his own recording studio, fantastic engineer, producer, and he also masters everything. So we've got our own little record company in Steve, our recording company in Steve in Hanover. So basically, we put all the bits down, and then I'll record some of my guitar stuff either here at Ferrycroft Studios in Saffron Walden, or I go to a friend of mine called Stacey Dunn, who's got his own studio here, and he'll put me through into the computer through an interface. I use a Line 6 Helix stomp, and then I do all the solos at his place. But basically, he just sends the files over to Steve, and Steve flies them in, edits it all in, lines it all up and gets the solo sounding. He reamps it in Hanover. So we just do the basic playing here, and all the sound comes from over there. So he just puts all the pieces of the jigsaw together. Rocky does the same with his bass. Lee does his vocals at home. So just sends all the files over to Steve, and he puts them in place.
It's amazing because you'd have been from the era that I remember when we all turned up in the studio and played together. All you did, you put the drums down first, and then you layer it on that together, and then really. I mean, I've been doing Cubase and stuff like that for about the last 20 years, so I've got to understand. I hated doing it like that, and then of course pandemic came. And everyone had to do it, didn't they, in their own home? And it was like, and I hated it. I hated it.
Yeah, that's what give us the freedom to do the Grace of the Dragonfly, because we were halfway through doing the Reality of Miracles, which is, a few years ago when 2020 came, and we would never have finished the Reality of Miracles because we were all busy touring different projects. Steve was out with Michael Schenker. I was in Europe. Clive was doing something. Everyone was busy. Lee was with Sweet, bass player and backing vocals. So it's one of them things where COVID come along and we were stuck at home. So it was a perfect time to finish the album. And it proved to us that we could do it like that for the next album. So we was all prepared,
Do you feel comfortable doing it now that way?
Yeah, it's a lot easier. I get really nervous or really tensed up in the studio when I'm trying to run a solo. I'm trying to get it just right.
That red light comes on. Yeah.
Yeah, and the good thing about this is I can sit with Stacey in his studio, and Steve will send the track over, and we'll just play the solo part, and off I go. I do a lot of pre-rehearsing at home with the track at home, running it through the laptop and the speakers, because I'm just getting the hang of what I'm going to do to save time at Stacey's. But once I get to Stacey's, he's there ready, and he plays the track, and hopefully if I've rehearsed it enough at home, I should be able to get it in one or two, three takes. Couple of mic drop-ins if I miss a string or I miss a note. But it's easier for me, it's less stressful just to relax and sit there and play. So yeah, nice.
It's getting better these days with everyone. I mean, at first you could sort of tell that everyone was independent, and these days I cannot tell. It sounds like everyone's in the studio. This Lionheart album is amazing for that, because if you had said to me, how do we do it? I'd have gone, well, you went in the studio together. It's pretty obvious, but because it just does not sound like you're all playing independently of one another.
Yeah. It's for us, we've matured quite a lot. I wish my playing was getting better instead of worse as I'm getting older. But you try new tricks to try and keep up with the youngsters, and try not to repeat the solo you did on the last album because it's in your head. You know, you're trying to invent new solos all the time. You know, so yeah.
Fantastic. And what are you using guitar-wise? I can see you've got a nice T-shirt on there. So look
Well,
like you're.
Dan McPherson, he immigrated to Canada, but he had a workshop down in Southend, and I'm a comparison man. I've been with Charvel Jackson since 1995, and I used to play the Charvels and the Jacksons, beautiful guitars. It made me change from the Les Paul because I found the Les Paul getting heavier and heavier.
Oh, yeah.
So I just love the Charvel Jacksons. But there's a guy in Tokyo called Itaru Kano who then who was working for Charvel Jackson. He left and he asked us at Prayer Mantis, would we stay with him? And he's starting a company called Comparison.
Oh.
So he made the Comparisons, and the Comparisons are absolutely fantastic guitars. Play like a dream. I use them on all tours, anything. I don't use them for recording. I use this McPherson because Dan, before he immigrated to Canada, said to me, "I've always wanted to make you your own personal guitar, and it's got your signature on it, so it's a personal thing." So I gave him one of the Comparisons, the white one. I gave him the Comparison, and I said to him, "You can make any guitar you want, Dan." I said, "But everything has to be like the white guitar, the Comparison. The knobs have to be in the same place. The toggle switch has to be in the same place, and the neck and the body all have to be identical to the Comparison because I play with my eyes closed most of the time. And when I'm playing with my eyes closed, I don't have to look where my hand's going for the knobs, toggle switch, and on the fretboard." He made the signature guitar for me, the Dennis Stratton model, and it is absolutely fantastic. There's loads of photos on Facebook and social media. It's got a lovely flame front top, beautiful. But I use that only here at home, regular work, like when we do little covers bands and maybe a couple of little rock duos, me and Dave Edwards on guitars and vocals. I use it now here. I don't like to travel with it in case they smash it up.
Yeah, true.
With the Comparisons, they're roadworthy. They've been around for a long time, you know. So I use the McPherson weekends here on the little club gigs and pub gigs, but I use the Comparison when I'm away. So yeah.
What's it loaded with? What have you got pickup wise in it?
EMGs always.
Are they active or passive?
Active, yeah, active.
Yeah.
Got EMGs from Steve Lukather.
Oh wow!
In 1984, when we were recording the first Lionheart album in the Sound City Studios in Van Nuys, the one that Dave Grohl did the documentary about. We knew that Steve Lukather was playing EMGs, so we went down to I don't know what the guitar shop, Valley Arts Guitars. I think that was crazy. And we took our Les Pauls there, and they put EMGs on it. So every guitar now has EMGs on it. Yeah.
And are you still got an armour? Is it like a Floyd Rose or something you on it?
Do you know, it's a Shannon, I think.
Oh yeah, similar sort
of
thing.
I think so.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing.
Locking nut.
Yeah, they never go out of tune. You know?
No, they don't do. They're brilliant for that sort of
But
stuff.
I got the Helix Stomp. I did have the big Helix HD 500 about this long.
Okay, yeah.
And then I realised that I couldn't get it in my hand luggage in the case for when we go over to Italy and all around Europe doing the maiden conventions. So last album, I think it was Reality of Miracles, Steve was trying out the Helix Stomp, and he said it was fantastic. So we got the Helix Stomp, and we have our own sounds. Steve, we always have our own sounds programmed into the Helix Stomp. And when I bought the Helix Stomp, Steve sent me all the files over, and Stacey was able to load in the clean rhythm sound, chorusy rhythm, power chord sound, and the solo sound, all on the free pedals that are on the Stomp. So that all my sounds in a little box like that is perfect.
That's absolutely ideal. And what do you go into a back line, or you go straight into the
Now,
PA?
funny enough, I have a blue guitar. I have a Blug.
Thomas Blug, yeah, I know him very well.
Blug, you know it?
I know
The
him. We've
metal
had
amp
him on
like
the
this.
show, and I'll tell you. Let me show you something. As soon as you're talking
Go on.
about Thomas on there, this is a Thomas Blug Strat. Believe it or
That's
not, that
it.
Thomas
Yes.
gave me. Yeah, I got one of those.
Yeah.
You see, no, he gave me that. Thomas did. So I'm good mates with him.
Great. Well,
So yeah.
funny enough, a friend of mine bought one, and he said he lent it to me, and he said, you don't have to use the presets in the pedal.
No.
If you go into the back of the pedal, into the return, you can just use it as a power amp. So
Really?
now, in my little wheelie case for hand luggage, I put the Helix Stomp and the Blug guitar, the Blug amp,
Yeah.
next to it, packed perfectly in a little case. So every time I'm abroad, all I have to use is 412s.
Absolutely.
They don't have to get me an amp. They don't have to worry about any. The Stomp can go in ear monitoring. It can go into the desk, but I don't, because I do like the sound on stage, so I can hear everything with the drums and PA. But yeah, it's perfect for me because I don't have to worry about picking up the wrong amp in a country where I've not been, or somewhere where they might have ordered the wrong amp to hire, and I get there and I can't use it. So I take the Plug and I take the Helix Stomp in the case. Job done.
Is the amp one you're using? Is it the Thomas Blug amp one?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just launched the amp X, the amp number 10,
Right.
which I think has got a lot more effects and stuff on it. But I
Yeah,
don't think, from what he's telling me, it just does a few extra bits and pieces on it. So it sounds pretty impressive.
Well, funny enough, the guitarists in some of the bands in Italy have gone out and bought one because I used it.
A lot of guys, well, there's Uli John Roth is using them now. Jennifer Batten uses them as well. He was telling me, and there's a lot of other big guitarists that are using it, including yourself. So, does Thomas know that you use it?
No, I don't really know him. I don't know him.
I know him really well. So, do you want me to mention it? You never know.
Yes, that would be great. Because
brilliant.
Funny enough, the guy that bought that, who had lent it to me, said I can keep it because he doesn't play guitar anymore, and he said I want you to go to a good home. So I kept it.
I'll put him in touch with you, mate.
Brilliant.
He'd be happy about that. And they're great units. They really are. He did a guitar show down in Norwich where we're based, and he basically got the boys in this guitar shop to say, what's your favorite amp? And I think they come up with something like a Vox 15 or something like that, not an AC 15. Not a 30, an AC 15 it was, but they liked that best in the shop. And he goes, I'm going to emulate it with my stuff. And I'll tell you what, I couldn't tell the difference between it. I mean, this Vox AC 15 was about $2,500. And it was just absolutely spot on. Really, really great.
Of course.
Look, let's go to a record anyway. I'm going to stick something of yours on now, okay? Brilliant. And we'll be back after this.
Fantastic.
Are you right there, Jack? I can see